All
So we
right.
have Carl doing a gurgler. So go ahead, talk
All
about
right.
it. I know this is a Tim Flagler type, so go for it.
Yeah. So I did a little research today, and and honestly, I didn't take any notes. I was just watching a quick YouTube video, and I can't remember the name. This is kind of a trivial pursuit for who's on deck here. Um, who tied the gurgler? Who's the original tire? Anybody know?
Jack Gartside.
Ooh, Tony gets the winner chicken dinner. Yeah. So I, I looked at um, Davey McPhail. He did the video of the original way that he did, and apparently they were close friends, according to him. I would no reason to doubt that. I mean, a name like Davey McPhail, you got to believe everything that guy says, you know. But um, the original Gurgler, he did it in black, and then there was like a black stripe or a silver stripe down it, and I've seen a few other things on it. So there's definitely different um, different ways to tie this fly, just like any other fly. I really like Tim Flagler's method. I've caught fish with this. Uh, Flagler doesn't put a weed guard on. Um, I when I learned that last year, I decided I was going to put that on my bass flies because I had a lot of success casting into weeds and logs, and being able to get it off of that and getting right into the where I wanted to get the fly. And so anyway, last year I tied it. It was a little bit bigger hook on this one. This one tonight is a size 6, and I did look. And I think it was about a week ago. There were still some of these size 6 on wholesale flies. On the barbless long nymph, the 3X barbless hook. So that's what I'm going to tie on tonight. Um, the other thing about this fly, it is Flagler does he puts a piece of monofilament around the back, which I'll demonstrate, and that keeps the bucktail from fouling around the hook. Um, I thought it looked like a really cool idea, so that's what I've used on mine. I had some luck with it. But watching other people, I've not seen anybody do that. Now, what Flagler did that I would professionally, in my amateur uh, mind, is say I would correct him a little bit because when he tied on the mono, he actually crossed it over and it was actually twisty. And I'm a little particular about details, as some people know that and well, if you're going to do that, you might as well do it even. So anyway, I'll show you that. But it's a pretty quick tie. You can do it with the weed guard, without the weed guard. You can fish this for bass. You can fish this for trout. If you're fishing for trout, you could make them smaller. I think John Wright shared that last time I did it. Was that he's fished them for trout. I've not tried trout with it yet. Um, I was just wanting a bigger fly that didn't weigh, that I could use a lighter rod with when I was out fishing for bass. If I just had something that was a little lighter to cast instead of a big bass bug. Um, and you know, it'll turn over fine depending on how your leader's set up. But it's a fun little fly, and I thought in the spirit of the summertime coming, hopefully it will come one of these days, that you know we do a little bit of something that people want to go do a little bass fishing with it, or and you can even take it out on and try some trout for it too. But anyway, so that's my introduction on that. All right, so again, we're going to use a size 6 model 22. From this one is particular wholesale fly, if they still have it. The last I looked, they did. So you don't need to debarb it, which is cool because it's barbless. So I'm going to put it on here and get a good uh, hook on it, test it, make sure it's good. So on the fly, we're going to use some foam to back it up. And so the foam, and it doesn't matter the size that you use, but what you want to do is try to get it to the same width of your gape. Okay. So I've already trimmed this out. I wanted to save a little time. So I had some of these already trimmed out from the last time I made a few of these. So, you know, you can see that where you want to try to get it to the width of that. And apparently that has some physics to it, but, you know, it seems to make sense here to keep the fly in balance. So, so when you get your hook on, or before you put your hook on, just put your hook and measure it out, and then you can strip it out and make a few of these ahead of time. When you say you're going to tie 5 or 6 of them or whatever, cut you six strips or 3 strips. This one's long enough to make 2 or 3 flies out of, and measure it out. And I think that it makes sense when you think about it. There's some balance there. So, all right. So we're going to use a little bit of a combination of Dave Whitlock method of putting mono on, and with a little bit of a guard here to you know, kind of keep that tail up. And if you look at the fly in the water, especially on Flagler's video, when this thing's fishing, I mean, it sits down in the water and it's just moving, and it's got a lot of movement on it. And that tail guard actually, you can see it actually keeps it up, keeps that fly up in there. So I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of difference in the catching of the fish, but I personally think it looks really cool. And maybe it's a little bit of an overachiever fly on that side of it, but um, you know, if you can do what you want. You can tie it without it or with it, but I'm going to tie it with it. So one of Whitlock's deals when he ties attaches mono to a hook is he takes a file and he roughs up, just takes a little bit of the varnish off of it here. It's not going to kill the hook or weaken it any. I'm just taking a little bit of that varnish off of it, and that'll help get that mono and glued to it here. So you could use Zap-A-Gap if you wanted. And I was a big believer in that when I started using it. But then Tony said, the Loctite brush on doesn't dry out. It works just as well. And so I kind of switched gears on that. It's a lot less expensive, easy to get, especially if you order 2 or 3 of them on Amazon. So on the mono side of it, you just take a little bit of a brush on it, and I'm only going to go halfway on it on the hook here. Just put a little bit of that on. I'm going to start halfway down the shank. So I'm going to pick the midpoint of the shank. I'm going to wrap back. Just get a thread base down. When I get to the hook, right to the hook point, I'm going to cut that off and wrap that in. Now, this is way overachiever stuff here. And it's probably because that's the mono that I bought that I started using, and I've got 154 yards of it when I bought it. I probably got 148 left, so I'm going to be using this a while. So I'm going to just go ahead and take about just 4 or 5 inches of it. And this is pretty heavy mono. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my side, and I'm going to go up to the midpoint where my thread stops right here. I'm going to wrap it in, and I'm just going to wrap it in off to the side. I'm going to do touching wraps into that. When I get to the end of it, I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to hold it back in, and I'm going to put this mono guard for the tail. I'm going to try to make it about as perpendicular or in line with the tail end of the hook. So I'm going to grab it with my thread, and I'm pulling towards me to keep it level. I'm just going to wrap back into it, I'm going to wrap back till I'm at that hook point. So now what I have is a fairly straight mono that runs to the edge of the hook point, or the bend of the hook. And you can take some of these flat pliers. If you don't have any of these, you can get them at Hobby Lobby. But if you ever do the deer stacking like Dave Whitlock did with the mono on the side there, you know, the Alan Rupp was using these, and I finally found a pair that I like. There's several out there, but this particular band I like. I got these at Hobby Lobby. But it's nice when you do it, because you can just, when you get that mono in there, you can just get it nice and level and leave it in there. And again, this is a bit of an overachiever one. You don't have to do this. You could do it with just any regular stuff, you know. So this last part here off this, I'm going to save this because this is going to be my weed guard. Well, I have it in my hand and my pliers handy. I'm going to take about 1/4 of an inch of this thing. I'm going to take the bend over to the side, and I'm going to grab a 1/4 inch down just like that with that bend going out, and I'm going to pull it back and hold it down for about 10 seconds.
Carl, what weight of mono?
This is a 48-pound mono.
Okay, thank you.
So I've created a little bend here. What that bend is going to do is when I get to the fly point here, when I attach it, it's going to go in here. Sometimes I get it a little bit long, and but you don't want more than 1/4 of an inch. So this is what's going to be attached into it. Now, you could use a lighter mono. You could use, you know, something in the 30s or even lighter than that, I suppose. I just bought this because I found it online, and I go, oh, 48 pounds. That's what I'm going to use. Anyway. All right. So now we have a nice flat bed to lay down our bucktail. And you know, it has 2 layers of bucktail. There's white on the bottom, and I'm going to use chartreuse. I'm a chartreuse fan. When you take that in there, it's a lot easier to lay it down, because bucktail at times can be a little squirrely to deal with, and getting it wrapped. But this is a really easy way to get it flat and level. So I'm going to take about, as everybody says, about that much, which is probably a pencil width, which is probably not really true, because I don't know what a pencil width is anymore. But going to take, and you want to get, and you can go on your bucktail. You want to, when you look at your bucktail, one of the things I want to point out is like these long fibers back here, save those for your big long saltwater flies and that kind of stuff. If you want to get, you know, and a good bucktail will have long straight fibers pretty much all the way around, and actually pretty close to the same all the way around at some point. But I found, like, on sometimes it's like you can get some shorter fibers at least down here towards, you know, the top of the bucktail. So going to grab a few fibers of that, just cut it in here at the bottom. Now, getting your bucktail line, you're going to want to grab, it feels like more than you need, because by the time you thin this stuff out, it will get thin on you real quick, and you think, oh, I need a little more on it. And so you got some long fibers and short fibers as you go back. You're going to also have some short fibers back in here. So what you want to do is you want to grab it back at the top here, and then pull it up here and pull those short fibers out. Because what you're going for is you want to get all the long fibers that you can. And then when you get all the long fibers, then you can grab the long fibers up here, and then you do what I call a little bit of a card shuffle. You grab the long ones, try to marry them up a little bit, and get them even tipped. So now we've got some nice even tips more or less. You don't want them all exactly equal because that would look weird. And you want to go to the length of your shank. So here's my point at the end of the hook and right to the end of the shank. So that right there is going to be my tie-in point right there. So I'm going to move it down in here. I'm going to grab it. Now, one of the tricks that Flagler says to tie in bucktail is you want to cut it at an angle. So I'm going to do this up here. I usually do it down here in my bag, but I'll just do it up here so you can see it. So I'm going to cut this up at an angle. I'm going to leave a little bit out. That's what the dust vacs for. And I'm going to take my tie-in point. I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to do a pinch wrap where I've grabbed it between my thumb and forefingers and I've got a loose thread coming down. I'm going to pull straight down and pull straight down, go straight up, straight down. Now I have a nice straight set of bucktail in this thing. Let's just do some loose wraps up here and go back. If you watch Davey McPhail do it, he's got more daggum thread on that fly than, I don't know, he must have done 100 wraps on that fly. It was crazy. And I'm not real big on, I like to keep it simple, and I think for me, the more simple you can keep it, the more fun it is. All right, so now we're going to do some chartreuse. I'm going to grab a pinch of that here, cut it right down at the base. All right, so now I got a bunch here and there's some loose fibers in here. We're just going to pull those out, set them down. I'm going to do a little card stack in here, get all the loose fibers out. I'm going to take the long ones out here, match them up. Now, with just a little bit of work like that, I got a longer one there than I want. You can kind of just play with it a little bit. And then you got a bunch of uneven ones here, and you got more even ones here. So just by grabbing about 2/3 of the way down, you can pull all the loose ones out, and you can move your bucktail up to a point here where you can grab the long ones here and get it more condensed out. So now I'm going to even those up with the end of the bucktail. Took my middle finger and my thumb and I'm going to grab it. Now I got a point here where I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to just cut it at an angle. And again, I usually do that over my bucket, but that's okay. And I'm going to put them right on top, do a pinch wrap straight up and down. So see what you have here, when you have that nice flat area to work with, makes it just a really pretty fly to just tie it down with. I'm going to wrap that back in and go back up. Now, most of the patterns that I've watched other people do, they use a little bit of flash taboo and some sparkle stuff here. So I'm going to take I'm going to take 2 pieces of get the curls out of it.
Is that crystal flash, Karl?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I was trying to think and talk and it wasn't working very good. Yeah, this is just crystal flash. I'm going to take 2 pieces of crystal flash and I'm going to do a Tim Flagler method of putting this stuff in because it's a really cool idea. Makes it really easy to handle. And this stuff, you don't want to, one of the things I would say about crystal flash is like, you don't want to really pull on it too hard when you're pulling it. You know, if you put it in a bag, or if you put a zip tie in it and you buy it and you cut a quarter in on it like that, it's really easy to just take your scissors and just pull it out. And then you can just throw it in your box or your bag or whatever you carry your stuff in, and it's there for the next time and it's not a mess. So I'm going to take a crystal flash and I'm just going to wrap it around my bobbin. Got it, just kind of bisecting it right there, and just grabbing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take it straight up. I'm going to pull it straight down and get it centered. And I'm going to pull straight down with my thread and I'm going to go back with both of these. I'm going to lay that down on top, and I'm just going to cut it right about the edge of that tail. You just want to put a little bit of sparkle in it. I got enough here for another fly right here. Just put a little sparkle in it. Look, I just did 2 or 3 wraps in it, and that's all I've done. Not a lot of wrapping. All right, so then I'm going to use some Flashabou. I'm going to take 1 strand of that. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to pull it out, pull one out, just trim it out, and do the same thing on the attachment. I'm going to take it, I'm going to kind of divide it up here, get it on each side, and this makes it so much easier to handle. When you're putting this stuff on, you can get it on even, and you don't have to worry about going back and forth with it. You can just hold it in the center, pull it straight up, get it down, and then you can just wrap down, boom, and you're in. Cut it just short of the tail. There. Now we have basically our tail end. And when you get this in the water, when you look at it, when this thing's moving around, you know, the thing with bucktail, it does move around, but when you got a little bit of flash in there with it, it looks alive. It looks like there's actually something that's really there. So it really gives it a lot of cool movement, and I like it better. I personally like it better than doing anything like marabou, but you could use marabou, but that's just personal preference. All right, so next item on the agenda is we're going to put our we're going to get our foam set on here. We're going to start it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our foam that we had measured already, and we're going to cut a taper into it. I'm just going to cut a taper in it like that. Then you go on the other side, cut it like that. And you want to have a little tab there and get it somewhat even. But what you want to try to do is have a nice taper on that, because when you pull it over, you want to create a little bit of a bulk. So you see the back end of this, the rump of this fly actually has a little bit of a taper in it, and it sits up, because when it sits in the water, it creates a wake when it's moving. You know, if you watch Flagler's video, he's got a very nice thing at the very beginning of it. It moves. It moves, and you can strip it fast and then strip it slow, and it's got a lot of cool movement. All right, so I'm going to put this on top, and I'm right here in the middle of the fly, middle of the shank. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to go straight down with it, straight down, straight up, straight down, and I'm just holding that foam very firm all the way up into it. I should have mentioned I'm using for thread Danville's I'm using 210 denier. This is way overachiever. I mean, this would be like doing a saltwater fly kind of thing. You could use 140, something like that would work really well too. So, but anyway, so now I've got it on. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that in. I know that people have used adhesives on doing that, but I'm not going to use any adhesive on that side of it. I'm not worried about it. I've already used adhesive to get the bottom end of it in. It's not going anywhere. And I've got this thing cranked down. And when you put that mono on here, here's the other thing I want to point out. When you put that mono and that taper in there, look how nice that layered down in there. If you've ever tried to put foam on a hook, and we've all done it, ones that have tied flies with foam, that you get that on there and it'll swirl around on you. When you put that mono on there, that's on there nice and flat, and it'll be there till, you know, the apocalypse probably. All right, so I'm going to use some cactus chenille medium. This is medium chartreuse. You could actually do I've done this. I've made I took some really heavy saltwater dubbing I made. Where did I do with that? Oh, here it was. And I did a dubbing loop, and I made my own, with that. I just did a dubbing loop and I wrapped it and I made a nice dubbing body in it. The original fly, if I remember correctly, what Davey McPhail did was he actually he tied in foam all the way up here to create the bulk of it, and then he put in he wrapped a hackle around it. Well, this is kind of an easier way to probably do it, is just using some chenille would work, but I actually made a dubbing loop and made my own chenille with it, with some different types of dubbing. So there's just some ideas there if you want to play with it. Just thought I'd share the idea. All right, so on the chenille, I use mine in a bag, and it looks like a little cumbersome at times, but you don't waste as much. You could sure take a pinch of this off and wrap it and throw 2 or 3 inches away, but a little frugal. So I like to save as much as I can. So what you want to do on your chenille is you always want to try to take and pinch off the end of this stuff here. Just strip it off and give yourself a tie-in point. So I got some tied off there. I'm going to move my thread with wide wraps. I'm going to tie this in right at the very edge. And then I'm going to do just touching wraps all the way up to the eye. And I'm going to take my chenille. I'm going to just wrap it around. And as I wrap it around, I'm going to do just like I would do a wet fly. I'm going to just wrap it. I'm going to pull the bristles back as I'm wrapping forward. And I'm doing touching wraps on this. So just hold your hand over the top of it, just like you were holding a feather over if you were doing a soft tackle or something like that would be the best way I would describe it. And when I get up to about 3/8 of an inch, and I say 3/8 of an inch because I want to stress, because 1/4 inches isn't enough room. When I get to about 3/8 of an inch from the eye, I'm going to stop. I'm going to tie it off. Do 2 wraps behind, do a couple wraps in front. Trim it off. Now it seems like a little bulky when you're doing a fly tying demonstration on a video to have it in a bag, but I've wasted absolutely nothing in this whole thing. So now I'm going to just go ahead and get some thread wraps down here. I want to clean that up. I want to get a good layer here. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the weed guard in. And if I didn't throw it away while I was cleaning my mess up, or maybe I did. Grab another piece. Repetition's good, right? So now I'm going to put my weed guard in. So again, I got my bend. I'm going to take it. And I got the bend pointing to my left. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to just pull it down, hold it down for about 5, maybe 10 seconds. Because what you'll do is you'll create that nice, I don't know if you guys, can you see that? That
Yep.
noticeable? Okay. So what we want to do is create a little tab where we put this in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this Loctite super glue with a brush. I'm going to just butter it up here a little bit on each side. I'm going to butter the thread a little bit. I'm going to lay it on top. I'm going to try to get it centered, and I'm holding it towards me because when I pull it, it's going to pull over, and I can straighten it out. I'm going to just take the hook point and my finger, and I'm going to wrap this thing in here right now. I'm just going to pull down on it pretty tight. So now you can see, and one of the things I should have mentioned, when you're ever using super glue, it's always good, always really, really good to put have a paper towel around, because you could keep yourself cleaned out pretty good with it. If you put too much on, you can just dap it and it doesn't get on your fingers. It's a real easy way to keep it on. That was a thing that I saw Alan Rupp do. I thought that was, so doesn't that glue on, get on everything? He goes, no, I guess if you have it handy, it makes it a lot easier just to get rid of it now than later, he said. So, all right, so now our weed guard is on. I'm going to pull this over and I'm going to create a little, see here, it's got a little bit of a bubble or a hump on the back of that. I'm going to pull it back here. I'm going to pull it down where it got a little bit of that bubble in here. And now I've got it even. So I'm going to take my thread, I'm going to go straight up and straight down. I'm going to do one, and I'm going to do two wraps right over the top of each other. I'm going to pull straight down. I'm pulling straight down. And that creates that nice, secure movement on it. I'm going to get a couple wraps up here. I'm going to go straight up and straight down and pull down on it again. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the head of it. I'm going to first cut it as a square. And I'll finish it getting it rounded off, because the other ones have a little bit of a rounding on them on the front here. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I'm going to do is, if you notice on this fly, one of Flagler's deals was, you could put a piece of foam on the top here, and you put a little bit of head cement on it, or a super glue on each side, and that helps hold that eye up, because the design of this fly is when you're pulling it through the water, it rides like this in the water, and when you're pulling it and it's moving, it creates a bubbling effect on it. It causes that gurgling, where if you strip it real fast, it'll go boom just a little bit. So so in other words, it's a pretty nice, doable fly for just for bass. So I'm going to cut about a 1/4 inch strip here. I'm going to try to even it up and get in the middle. I'm going to go straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. Tighten that thing in and crank it in. Just do a couple wraps up here. I'm going to whip finish it. All right. So the next thing is we want to get some super glue in between these two little tabs that we've created to create as a support structure for the head. So I'm going to take my bodkin and I'm just going to grab a little bit of it on there, just a little dab. I'm going to put it on the top part of it. And I'm going to take the back end, since I didn't get any glue on it, I'm going to just hold it up here. And don't put too much super glue on it. This is kind of one of those things I've discovered, that the less you have on there, the better it adheres. The more you got on there, it's like it takes longer to heal. So I'm going to hold it on there. I'm going to hold it on for about 10 seconds to make sure that it's adhered. I'm going to do the same thing on the back. Just get a little brush on it. Just get the back side of that like that. Now, if you YouTube the gurgler and stuff, you'll see people that'll have legs on these things. You could put some rubber legs on it if you wanted to create some more action. And there's a gazillion things you could do with this pattern. It's a very versatile pattern to do a lot of things with. And if you wanted to kind of overdose it on the super glue, you could put some on the threads if you wanted. Kind of clean that up a little bit. Make sure you don't get it in the eye. you tie some flies for your friends, you better make sure that you have your eyes clean because they will cuss you out if you don't have your eyes clean. If you cuss yourself out when you're on the river, that's, I do that a lot. Like, who's that guy who made that fly? Oh, that was one of mine. So, all right. So the last step is we're going to do the cut the mono. And so the trick to this mono on this weed guard is you want to have it to where you have it long enough where it just barely touches that hook point. Okay. And this is stiff enough mono that the idea of the design of it is you want it to where if you hit a stick or a log or something like that, if you're pulling up across it, you want it to be able to clear that hook. And you can see here that if I hold it on here, this is my stump that I'm hitting on, and I'm hitting on the back of it. It's going to push that fly right back over the top of it. So you can pull right over the top of that log or that weed. Works great. Absolutely works great. All right. So you can catch them on there, but it limits it. And it's easier to catch fish with. So all right, I'm going to cut right here, right up just short of the hook. And all I'm going to do is take this, I'm going to bend it forward. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers. I'm going to grab the end of it, maybe about 1/8 of an inch or so. I'm going to smash it and do the same thing where I'm just holding it and I'm bending it down. And there. You have a gurgler with a weed guard. That's it, Mick.
That looks good. We'll have to try that at Old Man River Retreat. See if we
Well, I
can get
caught
some of
some the
those
last
back.
time we were with there on this fly. That big one that I caught was on this
Yeah.
fly.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So
I got some
it's,
of those worm ones that I tied up that I'm going to try to give that a whirl while we're out there. So,
I'm looking forward to that. Then the other thing we need, we got a lot of scheduling to do from an administrative standpoint with the program. But one of the things we want to do is for our group to be able to go down there,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
we can
for
do that.
just us using it. Yep.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
we
because
need
they
to.
offered. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I had. I still have, I'm looking at that where I have like the fishing outing, where we need a volunteer. I might just kind of take that on too. I was hoping. But yeah, we could give them a call and see if we could go out there on a Saturday or something like that. That was kind of fun, and uh,
I'd like to get out. I was telling Tony this the other day. I said I'd like this to get out and do an outing over at Little Piney at some point before it gets, before school gets out. We have to deal with all the local yokels running in the river.
you
So
saw like Lane Spring or
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Lane
because I would
Springs.
love to go back to Lane Spring. That's something I truly enjoy. So, and that's kind of close to Tony and Jeremy too.
Oh,
So,
yes. Love
so
fishing Little Piney. Bunch of little wild rainbow trout. They're
yeah.
beautiful.
And that's last time I was there, I was playing with the Tenkara, and boy, I was having a blast with those.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
uh,
that's a perfect river for that.
yeah,
Something small and light, and dry flies work really well.
yeah, I think I was just kind of, I mean, I put, the yarn indicator, something very small, and I think a size 20 midge underneath it. And I was just kind of letting it kind of float around, and when it would just dart off to the side, I'm like, there we go, and that's probably the best day I had was with that Tenkara. So uh, I'll make sure I got two of them. I'll bring them down. Anyone that wants to play with them, they're kind of fun. So
It was
Yeah.
fun watching you catch fish.
yeah, that's where I'll get others to try. But it's kind of cool. You just kind of dabble it. You just kind of throw it out there, and it's kind of watching The Price is Right, the Plinko. You just kind of watch, your indicator just go in, and all of a sudden, whoop, it just goes. It's like, yep, that's a fish. So, uh, but it's very pretty out there, and I think the one time, two times, we fished with Jim Saraceno there. I swear he caught the same fish twice, and it should have been in an aquarium somewhere. I have never seen a rainbow trout with colors like that, where the belly wasn't white. It was orange. I've never seen a rainbow trout like that in my life. Just the blues and purples and pinks and whites, and then, that orange. It was just like, that's something I would have thought I would have seen, saltwater aquarium or something like that. I've never seen freshwater fish with that many colors. It was just absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, I would love, we need to definitely schedule that.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially before it gets really hot too. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you know, I don't know if we could do something like that in May and then head down, even when it's a little warmer, down to, when did we go last year, Mick? When we were down to Old Man River, was that in July? I'd have to
I
go
can't
look. I don't.
remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I know that was Scott, you and I, and if we do that again, that'd be kind of fun where, I could try to bring out, a little grill or something and we could have a little cookout though.
Well, I think we'd all. Well, we've been more than Jim's offered more than times. You just let us know when you want to come. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it goes around with what their schedule is there, of course. But
yeah,
and then we've also
but
got, just to kind of add for the group too. We're working on um, Tony. Let's see. Next week I'm on business travel, but Tony, you got. I'm sorry, I forgot his name already.
Trent is tying next week.
Okay, right.
Right,
Yes.
because on Trent's week, which is May 5th, we've got Dave Boyer tying from MAFF North Arkansas Fly Fishers. He's like one of the fly tying gurus down there, and he's one of 5 or 6 people that we've got doing guest tying for us over the next several months.
who was it again? I'm just trying to type that up real quick.
It's Dave Boyer,
Okay.
and
And then I'm working with Ross Bradley from the Bamboo Fly Rod Builder. And actually, if
Yes.
you guys haven't been to Hardgroves yet, he's got one of his rods in there. Um, and then he's also, and I'm going to talk to him about that. He's invited. I don't know if he could do a visit to the shop. Maybe that could be something like a weekend field trip we could do as a group to go there. I don't know how many people he could take, but I'm going to talk to him about that. But he's offered to do 2 presentations for us. Possibly he would like to do a leader build where he shows how to build leaders because he does the Harvey leaders and he designs his Harvey leaders along with his fly rods to design.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is is willing to do a meeting on the history of like some bamboo. He's got a PowerPoint he's already got made up for it. So that'd be pretty cool to hear about, I think. So,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
plus he's local. I think we could get him with our group. He said, I'd like to get involved with you guys. So, I mean, here's a guy that's well known and respected in his trade. Get him involved
Yeah.
with us would be really cool.
I
Yeah,
got
his
2
work.
real quick questions. I got to jump off.
Yep.
So I'm tying next week. Does anybody have a fly pattern? Terry, do you got anything? Anybody got something they want to see?
I would say
You
whatever
mean
you
something I
tie
can fish with?
Something you can fish with. I will tie up a hook with a stick of dynamite. Guaranteed
Yeah.
every time.
I was always going to tell Trent, whatever you tie on Monday for your TikTok, just tie it on Tuesday. Make it easy for yourself.
It's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tie whatever then if nobody's got
Yeah.
something.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, you tie really neat flies. We brought you up in a discussion not too long ago how we all do different things. And I'm a synthetic guy where I love watching you tie with the natural stuff. It's
Mhm.
something that I just find fascinating, especially the salmon flies. So anything you tie, I think we absolutely love watching. So
All right.
we
Yeah.
always look forward to you tying.
All right. Well,
Me too.
thank
Yeah.
you. Go ahead, Terry. You got something?
I wish I did. I got it. My head is so filled with allergies I can't even.
You want a bass fly, Terry? A bluegill fly?
Ooh, a
Or you want
bluegill
to try
fly.
Bluegill.
Bluegill fly.
Okay. Well, I'll tie you a bluegill fly as a bonus then, because that one's not going to take but a couple seconds.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you guys next week.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Trent. Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it. Great
Thanks,
All right.
talk.
Carl. Great.
Yeah, great, Carl.
Thanks,
All right.
Carl.
Thank you, guys. You bet.
Yeah.
You guys have a great week.
Yeah,
You
if you have
too.
any questions, reach out, please. All right, take care now.